cattle rancher Michael Torres, after noticing unusual livestock behavior and mysterious lights, launched a comprehensive 30-day observation study. The findings he recorded with professional documentation equipment revealed systematic rural property surveillance by extraterrestrial intelligence. Welcome to Shelley's Mystery Files. Today I'm going to share with you a story about alien activity that a ranch owner systematically documented on his property for 30 days in Nevada. Michael, could you first introduce yourself and tell us about your ranch operation in Nevada?
Hello, Shelley. I'm Michael Torres, 48 years old, and I operate a 2,500-acre cattle ranch in Nevada's rural northern region. I've been working in the ranching business for 20 years, with approximately 800 head of cattle, seasonal grazing management, and water resource management. The property is in a remote location, with the nearest neighbor 15 miles away.
What kind of environment do your ranch's geographic location and terrain characteristics create for unusual activity?
The ranch is in Nevada's desert region, at a high elevation of approximately 4,500 feet, surrounded by mountain ranges with very clear night skies and minimal light pollution. The terrain is mostly open grazing land with scattered Joshua trees, rocky outcroppings, and natural water sources. It's a perfect environment for clear sky observation.
What were the initial signs of unusual activity leading up to the 30-day observation period, and for how long had you been noticing them?
Initially, I noticed cattle behavior changes. Approximately 6 months prior to the observation period, animals were gathering in specific areas, avoiding certain pastures, showing unusual nighttime restlessness. I also observed occasional strange lights overhead. Initially thought they were aircraft, but the movement patterns were wrong.
What were the specifics of the cattle behavior changes, and how were they different from normal livestock behavior?
Cattle normally spread across the available grazing area, but they started clustering together in specific locations, particularly the northwest section of the property. They were avoiding areas they normally preferred, showing signs of stress, reduced milk production, weight loss, unusual vocalizations, especially at night.
Did these behavior changes require veterinary consultation, and were medical explanations eliminated?
I consulted the local veterinarian, conducted health examinations, and tested for diseases, parasites, and environmental toxins. All medical tests were normal. No health issues were detected. The vet was puzzled by the behavioral changes without any medical cause.
What were your initial observations of the strange lights, and how did you distinguish them from aircraft activity?
The lights appeared mostly between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., moving in patterns unlike any aircraft. Sudden stops, right-angled turns, hovering motionless, then rapid acceleration. No sound, wrong altitude for commercial aircraft, too maneuverable for military jets.
How did you make the decision for professional documentation, and why did you choose a systematic approach?
I realized I needed systematic documentation rather than casual observation. If something unusual was occurring on my property, I needed proper evidence. I decided a 30-day period would be adequate for pattern recognition, so I purchased professional equipment for accurate recording.
What were the documentation equipment specifics, and how was the technical setup arranged?
I purchased 3 night vision trail cameras, a digital video camera with telephoto lens, audio recording equipment, and a detailed logbook system. I set up cameras in strategic locations based on previous sighting areas, and established an observation post with a clear sky view.
What were the initial findings in the first week of the 30-day observation period, and what activity patterns emerged?
The first week confirmed that activity was occurring regularly. Lights appeared 5 out of 7 nights, usually between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. Cattle behavior intensified. More clustering, completely avoiding the northwest pasture. Trail cameras detected unusual electromagnetic interference.
What were the technical characteristics of the electromagnetic interference, and what were its effects on equipment?
Cameras were experiencing power drainage, timestamps were jumping erratically, image quality was degrading during sighting periods. Battery levels were dropping rapidly when lights were present, returning to normal after activity ceased.
How did activity evolve in week 2, and did patterns emerge?
Activity became more frequent, appearing 6 out of 7 nights in the second week. Lights were closer to ground level. Movements were more deliberate. I started noticing multiple objects rather than a single light, with coordinated movements suggesting intelligence.
Can you describe the coordination of multiple objects and evidence of organized behavior?
Sometimes 3 to 4 lights were moving in formation, maintaining specific distances, performing synchronized maneuvers. Not random movement, clearly coordinated activity suggesting communication between objects.
How did cattle response escalate in week 2, and did behavioral changes intensify?
Cattle completely abandoned the northwest quadrant, clustering in the southeast corner. Milk production was down 30%. Several animals were showing physical stress symptoms. A return veterinarian visit confirmed no medical cause.
Did you attempt direct observation in week 3, and what close encounter experiences did you have?
I started nighttime observation shifts, positioning myself in strategic locations. In the 3rd week, on the night of December 2nd, I had direct visual contact at approximately 200 yards distance. The objects were clearly not conventional aircraft.
Can you give a detailed description of the December 2nd direct contact and its visual characteristics?
3 disc-shaped objects, estimated 30 to 40 feet in diameter, hovering approximately 50 feet above ground. Metallic surface reflecting starlight, pulsing lights around the perimeter, completely silent operation. I observed for approximately 45 minutes.
What were the object behavior patterns during this 45-minute observation, and what were the activity specifics?
The objects were performing systematic scanning patterns over the northwest pasture area. They were emitting focused light beams toward the ground, scanning methodically like conducting a survey. The beams appeared to analyze soil, vegetation, and water sources.
Did you develop theories about the purpose of the ground scanning activity from a ranching perspective?
It appeared to be collecting environmental data, soil composition, water quality, vegetation health. My ranching experience suggested agricultural or environmental assessment, possibly studying human land use impact.
Did activity reach a climax in week 4, and what were the final week observations?
In the final week, activity peaked, with objects appearing nightly for longer duration visits. On December 12th, I witnessed a landing event. One object touched down in the northwest pasture for approximately 20 minutes.
Can you give a detailed account of the landing event and ground contact specifics?
The object descended slowly, landing legs extended from the bottom, and it touched down without sound or ground disturbance. The area was illuminated by soft white light. No heat signature was detected. After 20 minutes, it lifted off silently.
Did you inspect the landing site the next day, and was there any physical evidence?
I investigated the landing site the next morning. I found a circular depression in the soil, approximately 40 feet in diameter. Grass within the circle showed an unusual growth pattern, healthier and greener than the surrounding area. I collected soil samples for analysis.
What were the soil analysis results, and were there any anomalous findings?
The local agricultural extension office analyzed the samples. Mineral content was enhanced, nitrogen levels were elevated, beneficial bacteria were increased. Soil quality was superior to control samples from adjacent areas.
How did you interpret the enhanced soil quality findings, and what were the agricultural implications?
It suggested an advanced understanding of soil science and the ability to enhance agricultural productivity, possibly studying or demonstrating sustainable farming techniques far beyond current human knowledge.
Did activity continue after the 30-day period was completed, or were there pattern changes?
Activity significantly reduced after the 30-day period, as if they were observing my observation. Occasional sightings continued but were less frequent and less direct. They seemed aware of my documentation efforts.
How did you conduct the documentation review process, and how did you compile the evidence?
I compiled 200-plus hours of video footage, 500-plus photographs, detailed daily logs, and audio recordings. I created a chronological analysis, identified pattern consistencies, and noted correlations between object presence and cattle behavior.
What was the quality of the video footage, and did you capture clear evidence?
Most footage was clear enough to distinguish object characteristics, movement patterns, and light configurations. Some electromagnetic interference affected recording quality, but there was sufficient evidence for credible documentation.
Did you consider submitting evidence for professional analysis and expert consultation?
I consulted with the University Agricultural Department about soil findings and contacted UFO research organizations about visual evidence. There were mixed responses, scientific interest in soil enhancement, but skepticism about UFO correlation.
How did cattle behavior recover post-observation period, and what were the long-term effects?
Cattle gradually returned to normal grazing patterns over the following months. The northwest pasture grass growth was exceptional, and animals eventually preferred the area for grazing. Milk production returned to normal levels.
Did the enhanced pasture growth provide long-term benefits to your ranch operations?
The northwest quadrant became the most productive grazing area, with superior grass quality and improved cattle weight gain when grazing there. It was an unexpected agricultural benefit from an unusual encounter.
Have you heard of similar experiences from neighboring ranchers, and is there a regional pattern?
I carefully approached neighboring ranchers and discovered several had experienced unusual cattle behavior and unexplained lights. Most were reluctant to discuss it openly, concerned about credibility and property values.
Did you research regional UFO activity and historical sightings databases?
I researched Nevada UFO databases and found numerous reports in the area over decades. The pattern suggests ongoing activity, but most witnesses don't document systematically like my 30-day study.
What was the importance of this systematic documentation approach from a research perspective?
It provided credible evidence through professional methodology rather than anecdotal reports. The scientific approach enhanced credibility and documented patterns rather than isolated incidents.
Was there any financial impact on ranch operations from the enhanced soil quality?
Increased productivity in the northwest section offset previous cattle stress losses. Enhanced grass quality reduced feed supplement costs, and improved cattle health reduced veterinary expenses.
Have you considered follow-up observation periods for seasonal variations?
I conducted additional shorter observation periods in different seasons over the following 2 years, and confirmed activity continued year-round, but with definite seasonal variations in frequency and duration. Winter months were consistently more active than summer. December through February showed peak activity with 15 to 20 sightings per month, compared to June to August with only 3 to 5 sightings monthly. Spring and fall were transitional periods showing moderate activity levels. Each observation period lasted 10 to 14 days using the same systematic documentation approach. Weather patterns seemed to be a significant factor. Clear, cold nights produced the most reliable sightings.
What were the possible explanations for seasonal patterns and their correlation with environmental factors?
Winter activity was strongly correlated with crystal-clear desert skies, reduced atmospheric interference from heat distortion, and minimal cloud cover during high-pressure systems. Summer heat possibly affected object operations or detection capabilities. I noticed objects maintained higher altitudes during hot months with less ground-level activity. Agricultural cycles definitely influence the monitoring schedule. Increased activity during cattle breeding season and calving periods, suggesting interest in livestock management practices. It also correlated with my irrigation schedule and water usage patterns, possibly monitoring agricultural water consumption and environmental impact.
Have you made additional equipment upgrades since 2018 with technology advancement?
I significantly upgraded documentation equipment using ranch profits. I purchased military-grade night vision cameras with infrared capability, electromagnetic field detectors that measure interference patterns, and high-resolution telephoto lenses for distance photography. I added motion-activated trail cameras covering a wider area and digital audio recording equipment for potential sound detection. I installed a weather monitoring station to correlate atmospheric conditions with sighting frequency. I also acquired a spectrum analyzer to detect radio frequency anomalies during activity periods. Better equipment revealed details invisible to naked eye observation.
What is the current status of UFO activity on your property, and what are recent developments?
Activity continues sporadically but has definitely evolved since the original 30-day study. Objects seem highly aware of enhanced surveillance equipment, maintaining greater distances and shorter observation windows. Frequency has reduced to 2 to 3 sightings monthly compared to nightly activity during the 2018 period. Recent developments include different object types, smaller reconnaissance craft, and occasionally larger vessels at extreme altitude. I'm still documenting everything, but the beings have clearly adapted to surveillance, possibly testing human monitoring capabilities or avoiding detailed observation intentionally.
Were there property value considerations in your disclosure decisions?
I was concerned about negative impact on property value and potential stigma affecting ranch operations, but the scientific value of documentation outweighed financial concerns. Truth is more important than property speculation.
Was there interest from academic institutions in your research findings?
Some university researchers were interested in the soil enhancement findings, but there was institutional reluctance to associate with UFO research. Academic politics limit official investigation despite scientific evidence.
Do you consider future research collaboration opportunities?
I'm open to collaboration with serious researchers, both agricultural scientists and UFO investigators. A professional documentation approach attracts credible scientific interest.
Finally, what is your advice to rural property owners who experience similar unusual activity?
I'm open to collaboration with serious researchers, both agricultural scientists and UFO investigators. A professional documentation approach attracts credible scientific interest.
Michael, thank you for sharing this incredible 30-day systematic observation study with us. The scientific approach is very valuable for this phenomena.
Thank you, Shelley. I hope my systematic documentation encourages other rural property owners to investigate unusual activity professionally. The agricultural enhancement suggests positive intentions.
Michael Torres' systematic documentation of alien activity on his Nevada ranch for 30 days shows that extraterrestrial intelligence is monitoring rural agricultural areas for research purposes and possibly testing soil enhancement techniques. The evidence collected by this professional rancher using scientific methodology reveals a positive connection between this phenomena and agricultural science and environmental enhancement. If you've observed similar unusual activity on rural properties, please share with us in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Shelley's Mystery Files channel and see you in our next agricultural mystery.